Hello, gentle viewers. This is Indian with an update about EU4. No, you have not traveled into the future. It is indeed 1707 in game, even though the last video ended in 1609. So, why are we here, and why were there no videos in the interim? Those videos at one point existed, but to be honest with you, the quality of them was pretty terrible. Because a couple of things happened in the game, and I just got more and more frustrated, and even when I was having fun, the nagging feeling in the back of my head just kept saying, Avi, you're not enjoying this. It's coming through in the recording. You need to go ahead and let it go. And so that's where we are right now. With a pretty strong Bohemia, as it turns out. Look at that. Look how big we are. We're so majestic. We almost look like a cross, which is great. Our name is nice and big. I love it. What I don't love, however, are two specific things that happened during this playthrough. And I'm just going to explain them. I'm going to tell you what happened. I'm going to share a couple of thoughts about them, and then I'm going to move on. Because otherwise I will dwell, and then I'll get grumpy again, and this video will also be terrible. Maybe this video is destined to be terrible no matter what. But in any case, here's what happened. In 1650, an event fired in the game. And historically, it makes sense. In game, it does not make sense. This event is called the Winter King. Now, the Winter King is about a new king of Bohemia in 1618 who decides to convert his nobility to Protestantism. And there's what's called the Defenestration of Prague, where the Holy Roman Emperor sends a delegation to tell them, hey, you're supposed to be Catholic. And the princes say, nuh-uh, and they shoved them out a window onto a pile of garbage. This triggered the start of the 30 Years' War. This happened in real life. It was one of the most devastating wars Germany has ever seen. I mean, Germany in the general Germanic-speaking peoples portion of Eastern and Central Europe, not present-day Germany, which are two very different things. So that happened in real life. It never happened in this game, though. We actually got out of the League Wars totally unscathed because pretty much the entire HRE went Protestant, and Austria really couldn't do anything about it. And so rather than accept that, it just happened. All of this is fine. This is the game mechanics working. It makes sense. It makes an interesting alternate history. And we are where we are. Fantastic. Then this Winter King event fires. Which is what they called the King of Bohemia at the beginning of the 30 Years' War. Because he was removed from power with lightning speed, like in 3 years. He was only king for the winter. But here it fired in 1650. When I already had 80% of my provinces as Catholic. And Austria was pretty much non-existent. Austria is not a threat to anybody in this campaign. But the event said, surprise, you're Protestant. And I said, what? And I was pretty unhappy. I kind of thought about going Protestant at one point in the playthrough, but I decided not to because I decided, I like alternate history. What happens if Bohemia stays Catholic? But then the game just says, nope, because this happened in real life and it hasn't happened in game yet. Poof, you're Protestant. And the only way to avoid this is to be the Holy Roman Emperor. That's literally it. Unless Bohemia is also the HRE, the Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, Bohemia will always flip Protestant. And there's no way to avoid it. There's no alternate option where I can say, hey, there's a rebellion and I have to put it down. It's just, boop, you're Protestant. And then I have to convert the rest of my country. I did it. And that was fine. And I decided, hey, if I'm Protestant and I can never be emperor again and I hate Austria, well, am I still in the HRE? So I left and I became an empire of my own. I also fought the Ottoman Empire and Spain at the same time, along with Lithuania and a couple of German minors, with the aid of Russia and Brandenburg. And it was very tense, very difficult, but very fun. And I managed to win by the skin of my teeth and acquire 4 provinces from Lithuania. I was having a pretty good time. We're actually in the middle of a golden age right now because of these things that I had done. Fantastic, right? Keep going. Things are going great for Bohemia. They still are. But then I had an idea. Was this idea stupid? Not with the information I had at the time, but in retrospect, yes, it was stupid. But let me explain what the stupid part was. The not stupid part was. I wanted to start a war with Austria, but I knew if I attacked Austria directly, they would bring in all of their allies, all of their friends, and I'd have to deal with that. And I don't like that. So I decided, aha. If I attack another prince in the HRE, they're going to have to defend them. This is great. It's perfect. I can go to war with Austria without fighting half of Europe at the time. And I looked at the different princes and I picked Magdeburg. Why? Because they were only allied with Bremen and Thuringia. They also had Oldenburg and one other OPM who broke the alliance when I attacked. Now, my own allies weren't that helpful in this war. Russia had decided, you know what, I've got too much debt. I can't participate. France and Milan said, we're busy because we're actually fighting each other. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. I guess I'll wait. And and then I turned Brandenburg, and they're like, yeah, let's do it. To hell with Austria. I was like, all right, I got my bro. I got Brandenburg on my side. What could go wrong? And I look, and it says, here are the countries that honor the alliance. Bremen, okay. Magdeburg, I'm attacking them. Obviously, they're going to be part of the war. And since Austria is Holy Roman Emperor, Austria is going to get involved. Okay. That is totally and utterly fine. I'm good with that. That's a war I can probably win, especially since I just built my 4th stack of troops and I had 200,000 troops and 450,000 stacks. I was ready. So I declared war. Just as the game said would happen, Bremen acknowledged the call to war, and so did Austria. Now, neither Austria nor Bremen were co-belligerents, because I know how that works in EU4. If you call someone as a co-belligerent, they can call their own allies. Magdeburg, as you can plainly see, is the war leader, and I've already given away what happened, but I'll explain in a second. What happened was, somehow, through either inadequate explanation on the UI, or witchcraft, or just the game cheating, Austria got to call in its allies. And this is who I'm actually fighting. Magdeburg, Baden, Flanders, Genoa, Memmingen, Spain, and all of Spain's friends, Thuringia, and Trent. I can maybe, I'm irritated, but maybe, I can see this war happening and the rest of the HRE joining. I wouldn't like it, but it would make sense thematically. Spain being in this war is bullshit. There's no other word to describe it. Yes, Spain is the defender of the Catholic faith. But it never told me that Spain would join the war. And that is what I find so obnoxious. Because quite literally, I cannot win this war. And the only reason I can't win the war is because Austria was able to basically break the rules of the game and call in their allies. Because if Spain was going to come as defender of the faith, it would have told me, right? No. This is why Spain came into the war. Because they're allied with freaking Austria. That list of names looks awfully familiar, doesn't it? It's everyone but the two Sicilies. And so that's where we are. And that's why I'm ending the series. Because I have a lot of tolerance for games, but this is just stupid. This is something in the game giving me the giant equivalent of a middle finger and saying, you know what? You've been too successful. You need to be punished. And I don't like that. I never have liked it, and I never will. So that's where we are. That is why, despite my success, despite ludicrous sums of gold, and despite being the number 4 power in the world, I am not going to finish this game. Instead, I'm going to resign. If it'll let me. And it won't let me resign, will it? I don't think it will. I don't think that's a thing you can do anymore. That's fine. Now, so if we look at this, let's talk about what's actually happened here. Because we actually did pretty doggone well. Let's go at very fast speed and just watch how we expanded. Remember, we stayed pretty quiet in the early game. We just picked up provinces here and there. But we waited and took opportunities. There goes Hungary. Here we are starting to eat up Poland a bit. There goes Poland. There goes the rest of Hungary. Here's us beating up Volgost a bit. That's my war with the Ottomans. We defeated Danzig, and here we are today. Very cool. Yeah, the 10th biggest army, the 7th most provinces, the 4th highest income, 5th highest value, 100% religious unity. I got all my national ideas. This was a very, very good game. But you kind of ruined it. You kind of ruined it. So I don't know how to get out of this. Do I just press escape? Or apparently you can never leave timeline mode once you're in it. That's fine. I don't want to do this anyway. So the one thing I could have done differently... Let's get back to the end. And maybe this was a good compromise, just to not have Iron Man on. But I wanted to get some achievements. That's really the reason I did Iron Man. And this is a lesson to me. And I think in the future, when I play Paradox games for the channel, I won't put them in Iron Man. So that if I do get a scenario like this war, I can just reload an old save and be fine. And ready to move on with my life. But... as we watch all this happen again, that's what's happening. That is why I decided to end the series prematurely. So what's going to happen next? Well, Crusader Kings 3 is still coming on Tuesday of next week. On Wednesday, instead of EU4, I'm going to start playing Help Will Come Tomorrow. A lovely little survival game that's going to be great fun. And I know you're going to love it. But that's what's coming next week. For now, we are completed with the EU4 series. I hope you did enjoy what you did see. And I hope you understand why I decided to let this series die rather than force myself to play a game I wasn't enjoying any longer. But that's what's happening. Thank you very much for watching and supporting the channel. You know I appreciate it. Until next time, though, this has been Avindian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.